Hi there, I'm Lauren and welcome back to my YouTube channel, Sweet Smiling Soul, where I talk about all things sewing. This is the first video of 2026. I thought it would be a good idea to share some of the projects I have in mind for the year ahead. In 2025, I worked on a lot of sewing projects that really had me in the flow, and they kind of felt effortless in a way. Like there was a lot of work and time and energy put into the projects, but most of the projects that I completed felt really aligned and turned into some amazing projects. So in 2026, I'd like to focus on a mix of sewing experiments and some more slow sewing projects that kind of just get me into the flow and the zone where time goes by really quickly and I feel relaxed. And I also want to work on some projects that you've actually been asking for, so I'll get to those shortly. Before we get into it, subscribe to my channel if you like all things sewing and crafty ideas. Even if you just like seeing behind the scenes of artists' creative processes, this channel is for you. So I'm going to start off with 5 projects that I have in mind, but there could be a 6th project since my husband has a special request. So stay tuned for that. I'll share that at the end of the video. Let's get into the projects. So my first idea for a sewing project to try in 2026 is free motion embroidery. So I have a new sewing machine, which I've been meaning to share with you. It's another Brother sewing machine. It's a computerized machine. The machine that I had before, or I still have, but am probably going to be using less, was a mechanical Brother sewing machine that was given to me as a gift about 12 years ago, and that was my very first sewing machine. So it supported me in my work for a very long time, but I felt like I needed an upgrade, and I also wanted an additional sewing machine for the recent sewing workshop that I ran, and I found that the computerized machine was really good for the beginners that joined my workshop. So there were a few reasons why I kind of upgraded my machine, but I'm even more excited now because I've just realized that I can probably do some free motion embroidery with it. I recently purchased these free motion embroidery feet, and I've tested out one of them, which is the open toe foot, and I think this might be the way to go. What I'm gonna do is follow a tutorial by Risk Thrift, who I follow on Instagram. She just recently posted a how-to on free motion embroidery with a regular sewing machine, so I think that might be something that I follow just to get me started and to see if it's something that I'll like and if it's something that I can actually do with this new sewing machine. So on the back of my machine I have the option to lower the feed dogs, and the old machine that I had didn't actually have that, so I actually had to put a plate on top of the feed dogs just to make everything smooth and easy to use the free motion embroidery foot. But yeah, with this new machine I'm going to be able to just drop the feed dogs and it might work a little bit better on this machine. So I'm gonna give that a go. I'm just gonna experiment. Like I would love to practice doing free motion embroidery on some denim jackets. I have quite a few jackets in my cupboard that I want to refashion and upcycle, and I thought it might be a fun way to decorate them, you know, without having to hand stitch everything. I'm really gonna have fun experimenting with that in my new machine. I will for now just put these other 2 feet to the side, and maybe once I get the hang of it with this foot I might be able to look up some other tutorials on when to maybe use these. I'm really drawn to upcycling denim jackets and clothing and kind of creating wearable art, and I think that having a bit of experience with free motion embroidery might just enhance that and make it easier for me to upcycle these clothing items so that I'm not constantly hand stitching things, because that's kind of what I've done in the past. Sometimes I use my sewing machine to add applique features to denim and things, but I feel like creating some kind of artwork on the back of a denim jacket using my machine and embroidering some things might be a fun way to just kind of take that passion of mine to the next level. So I'll give that a go, and I think it will also be a great way to use up some of my scraps as well. So if you've been following along here for some time, you know that I love using my scrap fabrics and, you know, making the most of what I have in my sewing stash. So I feel like the embroidery piece using my machine might help me to reduce the scraps that I have in my stash. So that's another reason why I'm inspired to give that a go. So let me know if you have any experience with free motion embroidery. I would love to know what you think, whether it's something worth trying, and if you have any tips, you can comment below. I'm really excited just to have some fun with that. So that's more of a personal project that I'll be working on, and I'll just see where it takes me. It's just one of those things that I've been wanting to try and I haven't put aside the time to try it. So that is one project that I am for sure going to try in 2026. The tutorial that I'm referring to, I'll link it in the description below, and I'll link the Risk Thrifts Instagram profile so that you can see where I'm getting my inspiration from there. So that's the first project. The second thing I would like to try is slow stitching a textile bowl. So I've seen a few people do this on Instagram and on YouTube, and I've just been feeling so inspired. I thought it would be nice to make something that allows me to store some of my sewing supplies. So I have a lot of clips and I've got them in my little sewing box, but it's actually cluttered and messy, and I think I need like a dedicated box or bowl for my clips and some of my other supplies like thread and things. So I thought a textile bowl made from my fabric scraps might be a fun project to work on. And another reason why I'm drawn to it is because it's all hand stitched and it's a nice slow sewing project. In 2025, I did have quite a few slow sewing projects. So I did work on the Bob Dylan inspired denim jacket, which you can check out on my channel. And I also worked on the fabric doll and dollhouse and the adventure book sewing patterns. And those projects all together were very relaxing, slow, mindful projects that I really just loved. And they all had me in that flow state. So I am looking for more slow sewing projects to work on this year. And I thought this hand-stitched textile bowl would be something I could start with at least and just see where it takes me. Another reason why I would like to find more slow sewing projects is because it would be fun to do some live streaming here on YouTube. So, you know, we can get together, stitch together, and you can kind of see behind the scenes at a slower pace. And if I have one of those projects where I'm not really teaching something, but I'm just sharing the creative process behind the scenes, it might be a good project to be able to host some of those live streams. So that's just a future project that I have in mind, the whole live stream thing here on YouTube. But if I have some, hand stitching projects where I can jump on, work on my project, have a bit of a chit chat with you, I feel like that would be a nice, wholesome activity to do in 2026. So those are my reasons for trying something like that and trying that project. I'll share where I got the inspiration for those in the description below. And again, I've got a whole bunch of scraps here that really need to be used. So if I can find more ways to use up my scraps in 2026, I'm going to be happy with that. The third project that I would like to sew this year is new head covers for my golf clubs. So in the last 18 months, I have taken up golf and I'm loving it so far. I did a couple of group lessons here in Melbourne, and I recently got my first set of golf clubs. So it did come with these head covers, but they're quite difficult to kind of put on and off, and they're a bit boring. So I thought maybe it would be a fun way to use up my fabric scraps and create some colorful, funky head covers for my golf clubs. And I think it's a project that would really light me up. So I've been thinking about it for some time, and now that I've got my new clubs, I would really like to add some color to them. So I'm not quite sure yet how I'm going to go about it. I know there are some sewing patterns online that I could purchase and follow along. I also thought maybe I could kind of reverse engineer this one. I've just turned it inside out, and I thought maybe I could see roughly where the shapes are, and maybe I could just put something together and just eyeball the measurements. That's another option, but whatever I decide, I know I'm going to have fun with this. And this is probably more of a personal project that I'll just kind of do in my own time, but I will show you what I come up with once I've made them. So that's the third project that I would like to focus on in the new year. Let me know if you've made some head covers before for golf clubs. I would really love to know if you have any tips, or if you followed a specific pattern that you thought was really good. Share it in the comments below. I know that's quite a niche project, but it's something that's been on my mind, and I just thought I would share that one with you since it's a little bit different. Maybe this has given you an idea for your own golf clubs. If you've been following along my YouTube channel for some time, then you know about my doll and dollhouse storybook sewing pattern, and you also know about my new adventure book sewing pattern. So these patterns have been up for sale on my website for a few months now, and it's going well so far, and I've been loving seeing everybody's creations. I've especially loved the feedback that I've received. The feedback that I've been getting is quite positive, but I have had a few of you ask about a little boy doll, which is fair enough. I had it in the back of my mind to create a little boy doll. When I first created these patterns, I was just in the zone, focusing on just the one doll pattern to start with, and then kind of building more on the dollhouse and the adventure book patterns. So at the moment, there's only this little doll pattern for the girl, and it comes with the little pattern for the dress as well. But this year, I am going to focus on creating a little boy doll. So I have that idea in my mind. I'm kind of in the process of getting clear on what I want it to look like and how I'm going to go about it. It won't be too different to the existing pattern. I think I'm just going to experiment with the hair and create some clothes that would be suitable for a boy or a little bit more gender neutral. And then that way you can make a little boy doll and you can change up the dollhouse and the adventure book fabrics that you use, and use more masculine fabrics, or you can use more neutral fabrics, but you can really kind of get creative with it. And if you have a little boy in your life who would love these little books, then you can sew it for that little boy. So that's what I'm going to focus on in regards to expanding on an existing project, and I'll launch that pattern hopefully in the first quarter of this year. So stay tuned for that if that's something that you've been waiting for. In addition to the boy doll pattern, I would love to work on a third part of the doll series. So we've got two parts at the moment. It's the dollhouse and the adventure book, and the third one I would like to be hobby and activity focused. So I'm not going to give too much away just yet because I'm still in the ideas phase and I'm just kind of thinking and visualizing how I want the pages to look in the book. But again, I'm going to connect with my inner child, see what would light her up inside, and that's going to be what leads the way. So I'll keep you updated on the addition that I make for the doll series. So I think it would be nice to have 3 parts. I feel like 3 is a good number. It is one of those projects that I feel like never ends and you could just keep going and going. I've received some ideas on other books that could be made, like occupation and travel and different themes and animals and all these things. Like there are so many ways you can expand on these 2 existing projects. For me, what feels right now is to focus on one that maybe is activity and experience focused, and we'll just see where that takes me. So I will keep you in the loop on that, and hopefully by the end of the first quarter I have a bit more clarity, and hopefully it's been birthed out into the world. That would be great. Those are the things that I'll be expanding on when it comes to sewing patterns. So a little boy doll and one more book that is in the works, so stay tuned. If you're new here and you're just seeing these fabric books for the first time, you can check them out by visiting the links in the description and on this video, and you can see if it's a sewing project that you'd like to make for a child in your life. It's a lot of fun, it's very relaxing, it's a great way to use up your fabric scraps. It's beginner friendly too, so if you're new to sewing, don't be afraid, it's totally doable. And I also have detailed photo instructions for every step of the process, as well as a video series here on YouTube to show you how it's all put together. So that's that project. And the 5th project that I would like to focus on this year is sewing the clothing patterns that I've purchased in the past but never got around to sewing. I have a folder in my email inbox and in my Google Drive that are filled with clothing sewing patterns, and once upon a time I was super excited to make them. I purchased them, but then I'd forgotten about them or just didn't get around to making them. Kind of revisiting the things that I've already ordered and actually sewing them together is a goal that I have this year. For example, example, I purchased one pattern, it was a few years ago, and it's the free range slacks by Sew House 7. So I haven't made any of their patterns before, but I have purchased a couple. Another one is the Romy dress. I think I'm pronouncing that right, or Romy. That's another one that I've purchased and haven't made yet. So I might make these two in 2026. And I also would like to revisit patterns that I've made, but they have like a hack or they have like an alternative way to make it. In 2025, I purchased a few different designs from Common Stitch, and I made a video on some of those pieces that I ended up making for my European summer trip. And they were a mix of pants, shorts, and vests and tops kind of thing, summery clothes. So I would like to go back, look at those patterns and create like a hack version, or even like the alternative version that they offer. So for example, they have the pipet vest. I've made the short vest version, but maybe it might be nice to make the long vest version. I think I'm looking at simple projects, clothing projects specifically, things that I'll actually wear and things that might not be too difficult to make. I've been sewing for over a decade now, and I can make those complex pieces, but sometimes when I just want to jazz up my wardrobe and refresh it a little bit, I find it more satisfying to make a beginner-friendly project or something simple and something that's not going to take too long. So I do have a lot of those patterns that I really just want to get to and work on and make myself a few pieces of clothing. And pants is something that I need. So I'm also thinking about, things that I need, practicality, things that I can kind of mix and match and make the most of and get a lot of wear out of. So that's the 5th project that I will focus on this year. It'll be revisiting patterns I've made before, making myself some different versions of those patterns, but then also making the things that I purchased and never made and putting those together and sharing those with you as well. So I'll link those patterns that I'm mentioning in the description below, and you can check them out if there's something that you want to make as well. And I'll let you know once I've made them, or I might even show you behind the scenes of me making them during the year, and you can see how that all unfolds. So that was the 5th thing, and there is a 6th thing that my husband wants me to make and that is a laptop cover. He's going to send me some inspiration. I might even be able to share it with you as I'm talking here once he sends that through and I add it to my edits. So that's one of those projects that it's a special request from my husband, not something that was at the forefront of my mind of things to make this year, but who knows where it could take me. I've made some things in the past that have actually turned into something good, like for example the party crown that I've been sharing here on YouTube and the Christmas crown. That crown pattern was actually a special request from a friend for her baby's 1st birthday. I ended up making that for her, and then I was able to turn it into a sewing pattern, and many of you have downloaded it and made your own crowns. So it's one of those projects where you're not really thinking about doing it. Somebody gives you the idea, you make it, it turns into something, and it takes you down a path that you didn't think you'd go down. And that could be a similar situation with the laptop cover. So I'm probably going to use a scrappy technique that I've shared with you in the past, where you lay your fabric scraps on a base layer of fabric, you add some tulle or organza on top, and then you quilt over the top of it to create a funky collage patchwork piece of fabric to work with. And I might also add some batting or wadding to it just to make it a bit more soft, since it's going to be storing his laptop. Those are my ideas. When he came to me and asked me to make him a laptop case, I was thinking, okay, it has to be something that's cushioned and that's going to protect the laptop. But it's also important to me to use what I have. Hopefully we can either find some fabric that's perfect for it, perhaps at an op shop, or perhaps I already have something in my stash that I just haven't thought of yet, or it could also be a scrappy project if he likes that. So we've got some ideas. He will send me his inspiration and I'll share that with you as well when the time comes. So those are my sewing project ideas for 2026. Let me know what you think of these projects at the moment, and who knows, I'm sure there's probably going to be so many other things that I make this year. 2025 was definitely a year of a lot of sewing. I think since launching this YouTube channel, it's actually helped me to stay committed to my sewing projects. It's helped me to expand on my ideas. It's helped me to even build my own creative handmade business, and it's also allowed me to create a sewing community. 2025 was a year where I was my most creative. I went with the flow and I stayed committed to my projects and posting every week here on YouTube and sharing behind the scenes of all my projects with you. And yeah, it's turned out really great. The YouTube channel's growing. We're already at over 2,500 subscribers, which is amazing. If you're new around here and you love sewing projects and you love, seeing behind the scenes of creative people, then this channel is for you, and I encourage you to subscribe and share your thoughts in the comments. Share it with a crafty friend if you know somebody who would appreciate this type of content. I would really appreciate it too. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know what you're going to make in 2026, and I look forward to sharing more sewing videos with you. Thanks again, and I'll see you next time.